But I was still
Are you fucking kidding me?
spoiler, I'm taking the Bucks again, +7 on the road against the Los Angeles Rams on Sunday Night Football. So after we have a 4-0 Sunday, you'll be able to top it off with a 5-0 start after the Sunday Night Football game because I'm gonna go right back to it. Made by 1 week where I wasn't like unimpressed by the Buccaneers. They had chances to win that game in Buffalo. That game was back and forth, and look, give credit to Josh Allen. He scored 6 touchdowns. The guy, and that's what it took for the Buccaneers not to cover.
Let's go! Let's
Strong
go!
game from Baker Mayfield. He was running more, which is something that we had not seen the last couple games. So I think he is a little bit more healthy. Had him coming off a loss, playing on the road as an underdog in a revenge game spot for Baker Mayfield, who formerly played for the Rams. He had a cup of coffee with Sean McVay on a Thursday Night Football game. This was a ton of fun. So I think that he's going to be fired up for this particular matchup going up against the MVP frontrunner with Matthew Stafford, arguably the best team in the NFL. This is just like prime. Oh, Baker Mayfield's going to have himself a day. Now, do they win the game? Probably not. But I think that it's going to be much tighter than 7 points, especially when you look at the Rams. They're one of the most overrated teams when they're playing at home in terms of against the spread. So I like going after Baker Mayfield here. Quinton Lake, the starting safety for the Rams, is out of this game. He plays nearly every single snap defensively. So I think that's overlooked injury on the defensive side of the football for the Los Angeles Rams. I like Bucks here. Rams as home favorites. 3-5 against the spread since 2024. That's not that impressive a record, especially when you compare it to Baker Mayfield on the road as an underdog after a loss. Going right back to the Bucks.
All right, it's time, everybody, for our Hard Rock Best Bet of the Week for Andrew Erickson. We are going to be sticking both in the same game again. We're going to start right here where we began the show, and we're going to go right back to that Lions contest here with the New York Giants. I'm taking the team total over 30.5. Again, it's my favorite bet of the week. Why? Because they're averaging 36 points at home this year in 2025. The Lions should come off a bad loss. They're going to go home where they crush life at home, and the Giants defense has been getting crushed all season. They just can't stop anybody, so give me the team total over 30.5 for Detroit. Andrew, what's your take again? Just to remind everybody on this game and why it's your favorite.
Lions -10.5. The process says anytime the Lions lose, you bet on them the next.
What's up?
In his 4 road starts this season, and to just add more fuel to the fire, how many points the Lions are going to score in this game. The Giants defense, 32nd in red zone defense this season. So anytime the Lions getting close to scoring, they're punching in for a touchdown because Dan Campbell doesn't know what a field goal is anymore. It's going to be touchdown, touchdown, go for 2, touchdown, touchdown.
It'll work against the Giants. The problem is it doesn't work in real games against real teams. So that's the problem, and that's why the Lions will.
How do you know I'm white?
Going over there. It's also the only legal sportsbook app in Florida. More states are coming online all the time, so don't wait any longer because we've got college football, we've got NFL, we've got college hoops, NBA, NHL. It's all going down on the Hard Rock Bet Sportsbook app. So download it today. Again, bet $5, get 150 bonus bets when you win. And bet on these things, and you just might this week. All right, let's get to the upset special. You know, I have a feeling like the Eagles are a little broken right now.
This cold suit is funny.
The reigning defending champs. But let's do a little assessment of what we've seen from the Eagles the last couple of weeks here, because I think things are a little off, a little askew. So they lost to the Denver Broncos in Week 5. Remember that? At home. Then they lost to the New York Giants on Thursday night on the road. Ooh, that was gross. Now, they ran off a couple wins there where they beat the Minnesota Vikings. Okay, that's not really super impressive to me. They beat the New York Giants again. Again, not that impressive to me. And then they had their bye, came back, and then they played a very ugly game against the Green Bay Packers where they only scored 10 points. And then an ugly game last week against the Detroit Lions. This one was at home. They scored just 16 points. It's 26 points in the last 2 weeks. Now, I know the Dallas Cowboys has struggled this year, but 26 points.
Oh, dang.
Against the Dallas Cowboys.
Thought I had that.
Well over 30 at home this year. So if you're going to keep pace here with the Dallas Cowboys and what this amalgamation of what they are now, don't tell me about week 1. I only hear about week 1. Every team is just kind of figuring itself out still in week 1. We're in week 12 now. And the Cowboys, I feel like, are starting to feel themselves a little bit, starting to have a little inspired football potentially. I know they've got problems. They are far from perfect. But this is an in-division game. This is an important game for the Dallas Cowboys. If the Cowboys...
Maybe I'm black pretending to be white.
That this week, plus 145 on the money line. Give me the Dallas Cowboys for the big upset. What do you think of my upset special this week, Andrew? Am I crazy?
No, I think this is a really good one. I consider Dallas as part of my card this week with the points at home. Like, I know they're coming off a short week, but they're coming off a really strong performance. And this defense is not what it was back in week 1. Like you said, it was kind of a weird week 1 game anyway. They had that weather delay. It looked like the offenses were going to score both 30 points, and then we saw points scored after the lightning storm delay. So I think that Eagles are going to have their work cut out for them.
Yeah, I agree. I'm looking at betting pros right now. I see some markets you can get us a plus 160 now. Just as we started the show, I just went back to look just because, and there you have it. So that's why you have the betting pros app. You stay up to date on all these lines, man. When they're changing, betting pros, Secret Sportsbooks, man. I'm telling you, you can get the best line any given time on the BP app. All right, last one here for you. A little SG. Actually, not SGP, just a parlay of the week here. So I'm going to go ahead and take, of course, my favorite bet of the week, the 30.5 with the Lions. I'm going to take the Dallas Cowboys on the upset special on the money line, the plus 150 or whatever I get, 160 in some other spots. And then just give me San Fran to win at night. That's the 147. Okay, this gives you something at the 1 o'clock games on the East Coast, the 4 o'clock games, and then the night game, right? So this way you can watch football all day and have stake in it. Okay, so you take that team total with the Lions, you take the Cowboys to win outright. You get those two things. You can just cash out, or you can just let it ride with a simple money line bet at big minus 360 for the 49ers to figure things out at home against the Carolina Panthers. And if you get all three right, it's plus 497, almost 5-1. So that is my parlay of the week. And if you've got a fun call, you want to make your favorite bet of the week, drop your comments below, subscribe to the Betting Pros channel, and, of course, ring that bell until it goes ding so you never miss a piece of content here on the channel. That'll do it for us. For the story of the game goes on for Andrew Erickson, I'm Joey P. Those are the best bets for Week 12.
Yeah, except I'm doing it unironically.
To win big. They're going to dominate the game. It will be evident, I think, very early who the better team is and who's going to win. And I think that Oregon's going to put USC in a bit of a blender here. And I'm going to give you 15 reasons why that is. Just to start off, let me go over with some advanced power ratings and analytics with you all. In points per play margin, this is how much more points do you score per one of your plays compared to one of your opponent's plays. USC is plus 0.234. Oregon is plus 0.331. When you look at game control from ESPN, USC, they are 17th. Oregon is 4th. When you look at overall efficiency, Oregon is 4th. USC is 12th. And when you look at FPI, Oregon is 3rd with a 23.8 rating. USC is 10th with a 19 flat rating. Let's get into the 15 reasons why Oregon will dominate USC. Reason number 1 is that Oregon just has the better roster. The superior roster. The vastly superior roster. Oregon is bigger. They are faster. They are deeper. They are more talented. If you question that, if you think that is insane, we will use an objective service, an objective measurement to calculate a team talent composite. One that is faulty because it doesn't factor in development, but I got to give development to Oregon because they made Bear Alexander work and USC could not. Oregon is 5th in team talent composite with 941.22 points, an average player rank of a 91.07. 6 5-stars, 52 4-stars, 86 overall scholarship players. USC has 81 scholarship players. They are ranked 17th. They have 847.53 roster points, 3 5-stars, 38 4-stars. someone has the superior roster here, and it's not USC. And Oregon's offensive and defensive lines are just better, stronger, faster. Receivers pretty equal, but Dante Moore is more of an NFL, prototypical NFL quarterback than Jaden Mayava is. Oregon's defense, in terms of efficiency metrics, is way ahead of USC's. We'll talk about this in a bit. But superior roster is just pouring the concrete in the foundation of my argument, where when someone has a much superior roster than you, and you're playing on the road, we'll talk about in a bit, it's hard to win. But we're not just talking about Oregon winning here, we're talking about them dominating. The superior staff plays into that. Lanning's staff is better. Lanning at this point in his career is better than Riley at this point in his career. Lanning's done a better job building Oregon than Lincoln Riley has USC. Now, part of that's because Riley inherited a worse roster than Lanning did. Lanning inherited elite lines of scrimmage. Riley did on the O-line in year one, but they were not that deep. They hadn't recruited as well, had to use the portal more. Part of that was Riley's choice. That's why it's year 4, and Oregon's still better than USC when both programs are in year 4, but I will concede that Lanning inherited the better situation. However, look at the big games where Oregon, it was actually on the same day, too. USC hosted Penn State, and Oregon hosted Ohio State. And the difference between those teams in a power rating sense was probably pretty similar. Between the margin between the Trojans and the Nittany Lions is probably similar between the margin, similar to the margin between the Ducks and the Buckeyes. Oregon won that game. Albeit both games were very close, it could have easily gone the other way. But Oregon found a way to win, to earn an onside kick, to strip a football away from Quinshon Judkins, who never fumbles, and to get in Howard's head. USC led big at the half. It shouldn't have been a close game. And they choked to James Franklin, who's now out of his job and can't win a big game to save his life. Look at how both teams handled 2023, where USC did bring a decent amount back. So did Oregon. Oregon maybe had their best season ever under Lanning to this point, and maybe their best team under Lanning in 2023. Too bad we'll never know because they missed the playoffs and lost to Washington twice. But 2 close losses, dominated everyone else. It's similar to this Utah team this year, but much more talent. And power ratings wise, they would have finished number 2 if not for power ratings, not understanding that Florida State didn't have a roster when they played Georgia. USC that year went 7-6. Couldn't do anything on defense. The head coach difference goes in favor of Oregon. DC difference, I don't know at this point. Lynn, I think, is better than Lupoy, but Lupoy's commanding the far better defense and has really taken strides this year. Bigger strides than Lynn has from year 1 to year 2. Offensively, I think Riley's one of the best play callers in the game, but Oregon's overall offensive staff, probably better than USC's overall offensive staff. From a developmental angle, a coaching angle, recruiting angle, you get the point. It's closer than the roster difference. I will say that because I have a lot of respect for USC staff, but I think Oregon's at least slightly better in this instance. Now the concrete's hardening. The foundation's full. The bricks are laid. So let's start building the house here. The house of this argument is going to be supported by steel beams, maybe titanium beams, or I could really exaggerate and use like tungsten, one of the strongest metals on earth. That is what Oregon's run game is. It's the ultimate non-negotiable. USC's rushing attack is absolutely phenomenal. No one they've played this year has a better rushing offense than USC, outside of maybe Michigan when healthy, maybe Notre Dame when things are going very well. But Notre Dame, for whatever reason this year, has been hit or miss with some havoc plays. And with the type of offense they run with them, Brock, lots of outside zone. You've seen it when they've played Ohio State or in the playoffs last year. It's very hit or miss. If things don't go perfect, that can often result in negative plays. From a consistency angle, Oregon has the best rushing offense USC's played all year. Second in yards per rush, averaging 6.93. They are 11th in EPA per rush, averaging 0.15. They're ahead of USC in both those categories. They're slightly behind USC in success rate. But to be fair, Oregon has played Penn State's defense pre-injury, and then Oregon's on the or Iowa's on the road. Indiana's at home, but Indiana's defense, their bread and butter is stopping the run. USC has played a Michigan rushing defense that on the road has had some issues. This channel will make you a college football expert and help you enjoy watching games and make more accurate predictions. So what are you waiting for? Like, subscribe, ring the notification bell, comment your thoughts, and watch the video all the way through so that you can get the full package. And check the description and pinned comment for more ways to help yourself and this channel. Notre Dame's rushing defense has been phenomenal. Illinois has been okay, and they were able to stop USC stone cold on the ground a few times. They have the better rushing offense than the Trojans do here, on top of facing a easier run defense than the run defense that the Trojans will have to play. So the run game advantage is sizable. That will allow them to play ball control, and USC will have to find ways to generate big plays here or play above their average, their median on defense to win this game. The huge talent edge on defense, which we alluded to earlier. Man, oh man, that is, it's insane when you look at the numbers. So let's look at the numbers here. In defensive yards per carry allowed, Oregon is 11th. They're barely behind Ohio State. They're barely ahead of Iowa, Michigan, Indiana, for example. They're barely behind Texas, Georgia. The only defense that's really significantly ahead of them in that category is Auburn, who's one of the best, if not the best defense at stopping the run. They're even ahead of Texas Tech there in yards per carry allowed. In success rate allowed and EPA per rush allowed, they're lower, but not as low as USC. USC is a whopping 109th in yards per carry allowed. It gets worse when it's on the road, too. When you look at, for these defenses, just straight up opponent adjusted EPA per play allowed, Oregon's 6th, barely behind Ohio State. USC is 52nd, barely behind Central Michigan and Ole Miss and Utah. Utah's probably underrated in that metric, but whatever. Besides the point, they haven't played the same schedule. I get that. The Ducks have a pretty big talent gap on defense, and you look at ESPN's efficiency metrics. Oregon's defense is among one of the best in America. It's 5th, only behind Oklahoma, Texas Tech, Ohio State, and Indiana. It's just ahead of Miami's at 6th, Iowa's at 7th, Utah's at 8th, Texas 9th, Wake Forest, Alabama, BYU, Notre Dame. USC is all the way down at 56th. Again, just behind Ole Miss, just behind Illinois, Penn State, West Virginia. Yeah, it's been a rough year for USC's defense. It's been an awesome year for Oregon's defense. The offensive line comes into play, too. So Iapani Lololu is one of the best centers in America. His tackles are Alex Harkey and Isaiah World. His guards are Dave Uli and Emmanuel Pregnant. Ex-USC guard Emmanuel Pregnant, who's better than any of USC's guards. I like Oregon's offensive line here, which is the Big Ten's best or second best, maybe behind Iowa or healthy Indiana offensive line, to really put pedal to the metal here against a USC D-line that has had some good moments, but is just inconsistent enough, same with their backfield, to give up big rushing plays and to give up consistent yardage on the ground, not always get home. That's why Lynn has to blitz a lot. He doesn't just like to send blitz packages forward, but he kind of has to at times. Reason number 6 is Oregon's defensive line. Oregon is 11th in yards per carry allowed. We already talked about this. The Ducks have not generated tons of sacks this year, but they still...
Garcia and his defense here. Here he is. He's on Jalen Johnson. And like I said, I've seen pickpockets that aren't this slick. And Jalen Johnson just trying to cross it over right from him. And what I like here is David Buildz Garcia. He pushes it. He doesn't see anything that he likes, so he doesn't force the action. He pulls it back out. Long Germany, back in the play. There's a big time dunk. Instead of doing something silly or wacky with the ball, he brings it back out. He loves guys get back in the play. And our guys end up getting a big dunk off just defensive effort. Oh, the Spurs almost. A lot of guys in that situation, they kind of hyped up, come up with a steal, get a charge in there and throw the ball away or make a silly pass. He brings it back out and makes the right play. Heads up play there from Dave Jones Garcia.
You allow your eyes to peek at the box score. He's a plus 23. Love you plus one.
What he's showing me right now, Jenkins, that he can play out there with a lot of other NBA players, especially starters, and he's not doing anything too crazy.
There he is. It's against Daniels. No, it's on the score. Bounce off of the Hawks. Eldon's coming back in for the Spurs. Barnes to the bench. KJ season high 20 points.
I'm sure Mitch is going to come back with De'Aaron Fox and Harrison Barnes at the appropriate time.
Fox made his way up to the scores table, then had a conversation with Coach Mitch, one back down. Fox can rest a couple extra minutes when Jones Garcia is playing like this.
Let him stay out there. Like Mitch said at the beginning of the season, especially Steph Castle, he's going to give him the keys to the car. Every once in a while, he's going to crash it. But these guys have to learn. It's a great situation for him.
Got to fix the shot clock. Brett Barnes and our crew chief. We're all good to go. Sohan. Tim Penny on the drive. And shoots! 20 points for Champagne.
Johnson short. It's high right now. This next, we might shoot the next ball right to the glass.
Sohan looking for a handoff. Sohan takes it. Bounce it back the other way. Alexander Walker. He's got a season high 21. Stretching up cookies for Jones Garcia.
This way.
16-2 run. Savannah responds back.
The Spurs gave it against the Grizzlies. Found his first 5 turnovers in the fourth quarter. 0 on offense. Same time as a hero. These guys are playing. Maybe we should allow them to finish out the game.
Sohan.
The championship is making a couple of things. There's a ball fake in. I mean, that is reaching for the good stuff. See that defender wanted hard than he wants to get stuff. Just couldn't get it. So,
I believe in you. You're going to lock in.
There's 11 more free throws. And then the Hawks. Good job at the line. Push the 5-minute mark in the fourth quarter. And Jones got it again. Jones Garcia is starting It's his last tonight.
Those quick hands. We did not see that coming. I mean, just absolutely. I don't even know what the words are for this defense right now. The way he's taking guys apart on the defensive end of the floor.
David Jones Garcia. Hello.
Just another.
That white guy, Dan Jackson, was on another level tonight.
Misses the free throw.
Man, I could be undefeated if I don't blow that game last week.
Walker spots it. Solid contest there. That's right. It's in the Walker. It's super demonstrative there. Throwing his body to Jones Garcia. Jones Garcia. Jeremy Sohan, Devin Vassell, all throwing it down with authority.
It's the Denver Nuggets on November 28th. Cross Plaza. Party starts at 8 p.m. Kickoff is at 8:30. Bring a lawn chair or a blanket. First 100 fans in Spurs gear get a drink ticket. There will be music, raffles, giveaways, and so much more. Text Plaza to 210-444-40.
Faster I fill out those stats, faster I can upgrade him.